It's 2017. Kendrick Lamar is more confident than ever both in his creativity and his status in the game. This is the year he's ready to claim his spot for the first time as the best rapper alive. But it's not just the big three. He actually claims the current crown of every generation by saying this. Yelling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I am the greatest rapper alive. So damn great, I've died. This isn't the first time Kendrick has believed this, but this is the first time that we really hear Kendrick make this statement with such boldness. On his Monster verse, he was speaking to the legend, saying one day he'll be there.
I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. Tell Wayne to swallow his pie. Y'all niggas talking that y'all. I'm talking that Malcolm X. Martin Luther has a shooter dipping through your fucking set. I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. I'm the best rapper alive. Jacob man should've retired. I'm going after Kanye. Lupe Fiasco and Nas. Snoop Dogg and Mr. Andre. Eminem bust rap. Y'all better not bust no more raps. I'ma start busting your ass. Hit you up with a Met truck, then throw a bus on your ass.
On Control, he was talking to his current generation and saying he's leagues ahead. But here he's talking to all of hip hop right now and saying he's the guy with the crown. For the last couple of years, Drake has been making that same claim, but with less emphasis on being the best rapper alive and more so being the hottest artist alive. On Galchester from More Life, Drake says that he's top 2, but he's not 2, and he's got one, thought you had one, but you're not one, something like that. Basically saying he is in the #1 spot as the biggest artist or the biggest rapper in the game. And on Lose You off of the same project, he says, which I believe to be a slight shot towards Kendrick Lamar, please never label dudes who lay down for a living my competition. It's beyond offensive. I'm in it for the glory, not the honor mention. Not trying to be 4th in inches, I'm trying to go the distance. Yeah, distance, I'm on a different mission. Drake criticizes Kendrick a couple times on this project for this very thing. He's basically saying that Kendrick kind of drops a project and then disappears while Drake is constantly visible through features and projects and hit songs. But boy, was he about to be upset after he sees what Kendrick is going to do by dropping Damn and then disappearing for 5+ years. But that's for another video. Back to More Life and Damn in a few minutes. While Drake and Kendrick were battling it out for the top spot, J. Cole had gone platinum with no features once again with For Your Eyes Only and decided that he wanted to focus more of his time on being present with his friends and family while making the art that moved him and less time in the spotlight or competing for any sort of #1 spot. At this point in his career, it feels like he completely bowed out of the race he was once running with the big three. He'll be back, but this year was mainly about Kendrick and Drake. Cole said during his only interview conducted in 2017 with the New York Times, "For so long my mind state was, I have to show how much better than the next man I am through these bars. Who's the best? Let me prove it." And it's just like, damn, I'm really feeding into a cycle of keeping black people down. I'm really feeding into that. But 2017 is the year that we get the closest to seeing Kendrick and Drake actually battle it out on records before 2024. I'm not the only one who thinks this, though. Take a look at what Academics and Joe Budden said on Everyday Struggle during that time.
And believe it. When Kendrick say it, he believe it. They ain't just talking. Some of these niggas are just talking.
No, but I'm saying, do you think he's trying to engage in some type of rap beef?
Aaron Judge, 500 feet out of the park. Kendrick is standing at the plate. He is daring someone who fits the criteria. Not all of us.
Not everybody,
There's a million of us feel like we can rap better than Kendrick. You have to fit a certain criteria to even be acknowledged in this. Drake keeps coming up because Drake fits all the criteria. You got the numbers, you got the impact, you have the music, you have the look.
The people.
You have, so Kendrick is looking like, Kendrick, I keep telling you about them TDE niggas, man.
Hey, well, no, of course, Kendrick is ready to flame anyone.
You should meet some of these TDE niggas, man. Ab Soul gonna come in here and tell you he rap better than the world.
Rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan. And later on, Big Sean gets caught up in this back and forth as well. This year is one of the most interesting for the big three so far, and you're not gonna wanna miss a minute of this video. There's shots, there's drama, but most importantly, there's some amazing music and all-time classic lyricism here. Welcome back to Passing of the Crown. This is a 16-part YouTube series documenting the come up and the relationships between each artist of the big three of my generation: Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Drake. We're going year by year here, so of course this is 2017, but if you want to catch up on prior years, there's a video for every year before this. You can hit the playlist right here or click the link down below. If you're unfamiliar, my name is Jeremy Hecht. I'm interested in the relationships between the biggest stars in the world and documenting it piece by piece so you can get a greater understanding of your favorite artists. All I ask if you like this video so far is hit the like button, hit the subscribe and notification so you don't miss future videos, share this with a fan of these artists, and leave me in the comments what your favorite song or moment was from 2017. Also, I've worn a hat in all of the other videos in this series, but I just got a new haircut, so decided why not show it off for this video. But let's get back into the story. It's March 23rd, 2017. Out of nowhere, Kendrick Lamar returns to the world with a song called The Heart Part 4. This song is one of the most important in Kendrick's entire catalog for many reasons, but first, it signaled to fans that a new album was on the way. Similar to what he did before Good Kid, Mad City dropped with The Heart Part 3, whereas Part 3 was a marker where Kendrick's head was at before dropping the project that would change his life and career. Part 4 showcased the stage Kendrick was at within his career before dropping his most anticipated project yet, Damn. Kendrick begins the song by saying, "Don't tell a lie about me, I won't tell the truth about you." Sound familiar? Euphoria? He was even quoted in an interview in 2017 saying, "If I can make one person or 10 million people feel a certain type of euphoria in my music, that's the whole point." Now, I don't believe this was an intentional callback from Kendrick to this interview, but what I am saying is there are some absolutely crazy foreshadows this year to what would happen in the future. Some of it intentional, and some of it is just God's divine timing. Now, keep in mind, this is at a time where subliminal tension with Drake is heating up, and they are fighting for that mainstream crown of their generation. At this point, J. Cole is competing sales-wise, of course, and he's one of the biggest artists in the world, but he seemed to have bowed out of that competition, at least for the time being, to focus on himself and what he felt mattered to him. Also keep in mind, when it comes to Drake's ghostwriting rumors, Kendrick hinted at that before even Meek Mill came out and told the world. So with these first bars, Kendrick is alluding that he knows things about Drake that could hurt his image and warns him before going any further in their war of words. It's also a reference to James Brown's 1974 song of the same name, and to tie it all back to King Kunta, Kendrick also sampled James Brown on that song. Fun fact, the background vocals on this song were actually done by the singer Khalid, who was having a red hot run at that time. But Kendrick started talking a bit more directly when he raps this. "My fans can't wait for me to sun your punk ass and crush your whole little shit. A big pun your punk ass, you a scared lobe. Tiptoeing around my name, you lame. And when I get at you, homie, don't tell me you was just playing. Oh, I was just playing K-Dot. Come on, you know I rock with you, bro. Shut the up, you sound like the last dude I know. Might end up like the last dude I know. Oh, you don't want to clash? Dude, I know. I put my foot on the gas, head on the floor, hopping out before the vehicle crash, I'm on a roll." But when it comes to who he's addressing here, it could honestly be multiple people, not just Drake. We'll be back to Drizzy in a couple of minutes, but I'll run through the other options and you guys can let me know in the comments who you think he was addressing with these bars and some other bars that we're going to get to. The first person that I thought this was directed towards was unfortunately my guy Big Sean. Sean dropped a song called No More Interviews at the end of 2016, where he had some of the best rapping of his career, and he also seemed to have a lot on his chest that he wanted to address. He rapped this: "I'm not impressed with the whoop-de-whoop. I don't know who is who, and I can't pretend like I'm hip to it, no hula hoop, and I can't lie like I like this like I usually do, and I'm just not impressed by you dudes rapping fast who sound like one big asthma attack, but trash when I'm rapping it back, who you put in your top 5 and claim they the savior of rap." There's only one person's shoes that these bars fit at the time, and that's Kendrick Lamar. Eminem may have fit the fast rapping in the top 5 parts, but Sean is well documented a massive fan of Eminem, and of course they have the Detroit connection and multiple collabs. It's when you say the savior of rap that it narrows things down. There are actually multiple publications that published articles at that time calling Kendrick the savior of rap. And they weren't referring to any other rapper by this title at the time, especially if you're talking about people who have the ability to even be considered in the top 5. Even if Sean didn't intentionally mean this to be directed towards Kendrick, that's how it was taken by rap fans at the time. Even the title could reference how ever since 2013 up until 2017 at this point, Big Sean was still asked about the Control verse.
I thought this Control thing was put to bed, dude.
Yeah, I did too, man. What's up?
That's your track. You did a killer verse on that track. It's a great song. Are you pissed off that that overshadowed a good song?
Not at all. People know, you know, it's people like OGs hitting me up, like Nas and people like that. Was like, yo, your verse to that was crazy.
Yeah.
Or even when I was talking with Drake, and Drake was like, man, your verse on Control was like.
It was solid.
I think it was better than solid. I think it was really good.
Better than Kendrick?
Yeah, I like my verse better than Kendrick's. You know, I think Kendrick added a different flavor, and JLX added a different flavor too.
So everyone, it's just cool. Like it's all good. People just need to relax and.
No, I think it's entertaining. Keep it going.
Okay, keep the beef going.
Yeah.
So he constantly had to do interviews and reference Kendrick. So many friends turn to enemies, they frenemies. I don't know why I act like I'm surprised or it's offending me. I'm saying though, I should have learned from Hove and Dame, from Stunna and Wayne, Cudi and Ye. They were beefing at the time too. Although Cudi and Ye kind of go on and off with their friendship and have been like that since they started working together. So if you read some of these Kendrick bars again, they easily could double as a reply towards Sean. On the Hard Part 4, Kendrick said, G Malone, big bro, kudos to him. Shout out to Glasses Malone, friend of the show. I was 2 O's from a M, trying to be big as M. 30 millions later, my future favors the legendary status of a hip-hop rhyme savior. Ho Jay-Z Hall of Fame, sit your punk ass down. My spot is solidified if you ask me. My name is identified as that king. Sean had just dropped an album called Hall of Fame. My name identified as that king, rather than the savior. He's telling you what to call him. But then he literally uses the word savior. He even referenced Eminem, a fellow Detroit legend, and Lil Bitch was Sean's ad lib at the time. But back to that in a minute. And people within Kendrick's camp have said that Kendrick was ready to fire on Sean, but eventually Sean told them that he wasn't trying to diss Dot and de-escalated things before they went any further. Another person who this could be directed towards is Jay Electronica. After Control, Jay Electronica had thrown a lot of shade towards Kendrick over the years, and he even dissed Kendrick in 2016 on a song called The Curse of Mayweather, where he rapped this. This is blasphemy. I gave that little cockroach life, and he blasted me. Dudes made all those memes and they laughed at me. It's World War III, the catastrophe. Watch the throne, watch the throne. How you gonna compare the king to a gnome? How you gonna compare Django Fett to the clones? The game can celebrate today cause daddy's home. He's got 11 Grammy nominations, y'all not equal. Man, F these white people. My grandma died at 82 scrubbing floors and dude's still running around begging for awards. Is he Jedi or is he Sith? Is he Neo in the Matrix or Mr. Smith? I might be on Periscope getting pissed, talking reckless, contemplating a la War with Fifth. Now, Kendrick received 11 Grammy nominations that year, and the Matrix reference is similar to Sean's sentiment, basically claiming that Kendrick's a fake savior and not the one. He also throws a slight height shot at Kendrick, which we've heard many times before from many different people, calling him a gnome. Then on April 23rd, 2016, just a couple of months later, Jay Electronica apologized to Kendrick Lamar, saying, peace to K-Dot and TDE, because regardless to whom or what, we are brothers fighting the same enemy. Forgive my past transgressions. Although it appears Kendrick may have forgiven, but he definitely didn't forget, because that apology directly correlates to the apology bars on the Hard Part 4.
Oh, I was just playing K-Dot. Come on, you know I rock with you, bro.
But there are a bunch of lines on here that do completely seem directed towards Drake. I said it's like that, dropped one classic, came right back. Another classic, right back. My next album, the whole industry on an ice pack. Again, unintentionally here, but crazy ice pack. Iceman, the foreshadowing. Look at the crowd, nah, I don't like that. Look at my smile, I'm smirking, calm but urgent. That ain't the style. So many verses, you live in denial. Fuck, so many verses, I never run out. What? You making him nervous, the music is loud. Now, I can't play the audio because I'll get copyright stricken, but during that point, Kendrick actually crumples up pieces of paper at the end of every lyric and throws it out as if to insinuate that he's writing his own bars and making sure other rappers know that Kendrick is the one coming up with everything you hear him say in his verses. So this is a clear shot towards Drake and ghostwriting. And then again, when he says you making him nervous, the music is loud, it's a girl saying that on the song. Don't go there. He's getting a little nervous on this side. I don't know if there's any other double meanings to that line, but to me it's like he's not necessarily fully prepared to go at Kendrick on a record here, or at least Kendrick doesn't think he is. My spot is solidified if you ask me. My name is identified as that king. I'll let y'all worry about a list. I'm on some other a difference between accomplishments and astonishments. You know what time it is, ante up, this is in forever. Y'all got till April the 7th to get y'all together. Now, this a difference between accomplishments and astonishments line. I really like that because I do think Kendrick is basically saying, I don't care about the numbers. This isn't about the awards that I have or that you have. This isn't about Billboard hits. This isn't about first week sales. This is about doing something incredible. This is about the legacy that we're leaving behind. This is about the art form. This is about hip hop. And when he says April the 7th, I think that's specific. I think he was telling everyone I just mentioned that if they wanted to reply to Kendrick, he wants them to do it now, and he's ready, and he'll go to war. But after that, if no one says anything out loud, if no one directs a bar towards Kendrick, then he will drop his album and focus on the promo for that. There's also another reason, because there's another version of Element that we're going to get to in a couple of minutes that at this point might have actually been on the official track list. So maybe he's saying, listen, if you want to get something out, say it now, because I'm about to name drop on my album. But the absolute craziest thing about all of this is that years later, Kendrick's prophecy kind of came true. On April 7th, 2024, J. Cole got on stage at Dreamville to apologize to Kendrick Lamar for dissing him on 7 Minute Drill. The same day that Kendrick said you have until to get your shit together, in that same verse where he has lines about a rapper apologizing to him and walking back a diss. J. Cole did just that on April the 7th, but just years later. I couldn't even make this up if I tried. The Big Three is the greatest storyline in hip-hop history, and I will stand on that. But none of the disses are speculation at this point. I remember I was interning at Power 106, and Cruz asked me what I thought on the air for the first time, because I was still like this. I was still dissecting bars. I was like, you guys don't understand this and this and this and this. And he's like, what do you think of these lines, Jeremy? Who do you think he's talking to? And I was like, I think he's talking to Drake, but I also think he's talking to Big Sean specifically because of that Hall of Fame bar. But then, years later, we were vindicated as lyrical conspiracists because a version of Kendrick's song Element from Damn, which was already towing the lines of being a diss song at the time, leaked and showed that Kendrick was actually ready to call out everyone I mentioned by name and more. He rapped this: F subliminals, I put you on that roll call. French Montana speaking on me in interviews, very cynical. Dry hating, something I don't approve. J Electronica threw silences on my Grammy night. Another dead prophet hoping that God will give him life. Big Sean, you sneak this and I'll let it slide. I think his false confidence got him inspired. I can't make them respect you, baby. It's not my job. You finally famous for who you date, not how you rhyme, boy. Cute ass raps get your puberty up, then make you a classic album before you come at us. Drake and Meek Mill beef might got you gassed up, but I'm a whole nother beast. I'd really F you up. The other disses I already explained, but the French Montana diss refers to an interview with The Breakfast Club where after Charlemagne asked French, why do you think Kendrick sells more than street rappers? French said, because they position him like how they did on the Grammys as the new music, when I don't feel like it's not that it's not the right thing to do, but the whole thing was Kendrick night. Again, everyone hating on Kendrick getting these Grammys is not new. This has been going on for years. And later on in 2020, French actually said that he has more hits than Kendrick and could do a hits battle and win against him. Let me know if you guys think that that is true. He said, it's just that I got more hits. Kendrick Lamar got albums, he got masterpieces. But if you was to put us on the festival, I would outshine him because I have more hits than Kendrick Lamar. I wonder what would happen in that hits battle if you took away the ability for either of them to have any features. That would be interesting. Element ended up on Damn, but it wasn't the same version. It felt like a subliminal towards any rapper threatening him lyrically with maybe some hints at Sean and Drake, but it definitely wasn't what it could have been if those names were included, which I'm personally happy that they didn't get included in the final version because I feel like it actually just would have been a distraction from the masterpiece that Damn was. People would have made the album about this name-dropping thing and who he was dissing and the back and forths, and I think it just would have been distracting from the message. I also can't imagine French Montana's name winning a Pulitzer Prize personally. But Kendrick was asked about the song after the album dropped, and here's what he said. The reporter asked, on Element, you make that funny distinction between black artists and whack artists. What to you defines a whack artist? Kendrick said, I love that question. How would I define a whack artist? A whack artist uses other people's music for their own approval. We're talking about someone that is scared to make their own voice, chases somebody else's success and their thing, but runs away from their own thing. That's what keeps the game watered down. Everybody's not going to be able to be a Kendrick Lamar. I'm not telling you to rap like me. Be you. Simple as that. I watch a lot of good artists go down like that because because you're so focused on what numbers this guy has done, and it dampens your own creativity, which ultimately dampens the listener because at the end of the day, it's not for us. It's for the person driving to their 9 to 5 that don't feel like they want to go to work that morning. Then he was asked about ghostwriting. Is it ever okay for a rapper to have a ghostwriter? You've obviously written verses for Dr. Dre yourself. Kendrick, it depends on what arena you're putting yourself in. I call myself the best rapper. I cannot call myself the best rapper if I have a ghostwriter. If you're saying you're a different type of artist and you don't really care about the art form of being the best rapper, then so be it. Make great music, but the title, it won't be there. Reporter, if it turned out that you somehow had a ghostwriter, people would really want to meet that guy. Kendrick laughs and says, you're right. Then a week after The Heart Part 4, Kendrick dropped the lead single from Damn, and it was called Humble. And it also contained some shots. Particularly, the hook felt like a slight jab towards Big Sean, basically telling him if he wasn't going to send direct shots, to sit down and be humble about it. All while using Big Sean's ad-lib, Lil Bitch, the whole time. The song also came with one of the craziest music videos ever and began the true rollout for this album. This video definitely inspired so much creativity over the next few years, and to this day. When asked how Humble started, Kendrick said this: "It was the beat first, actually. Mike Will sent over the beat. All I could think of was Marley Marl's The Symphony and the earliest moments of hip-hop, where it's complex simplicity. But it's also somebody making moves. That beat feels like my generation right now. The first thing that came to my head was, be humble." When asked, who are you talking to in the chorus, yourself? He said, definitely, it's the ego. When you look at the song titles on this album, these are all my emotions and all my self-expressions of who I am. That's why I did a song like that, where I just don't give an F. Or I'm telling the listener, you can't F with me. But ultimately, I'm looking in the mirror. Humble went #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming his first solo #1 song and dethroning Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, which is crazy. When asked if having a #1 song makes him a pop star, he said, "It gets tricky because you can have that one big record, but you can still have that integrity at the same time. Not many can do it." Wink, wink, laughs. Still have them raps going crazy on that album and have a #1 record, wink, wink. Call it whatever you want to call it. As long as the artist remains true to the craft of hip hop and the culture of it, it is what it is. I don't know if those wink winks were Kit Cudi, always wanting the spotlight here, my cat. I don't know if those wink winks were stated or laughed about because this was a written interview, but I have almost no doubt in my mind that these two were talking about Drake off camera. And I have no doubt that those wink winks were a shot at Drake. And if you don't believe me, the interviewer literally a couple questions later just says, "What's your favorite Drake song?" Out of nowhere. Favorite Drake song, Kendrick chuckles. "I got a lot of favorite Drake songs. Can't name one off the back. He has plenty." "Do you prefer him singing or rapping?" "Both, yeah." But back to Damn in a couple of minutes. Speaking of Drake, let's check in with Drake and More Life. At the 2017 Grammys, Drake wins the award for Best Rap Song and Best Rap Sung Performance with Hotline Bling, ironically winning over Drum's Broccoli. See past episodes for the backstory. He did an interview with DJ Semtex in London shortly after winning, and he seemed to be upset about how he was categorized that year. This, of course, isn't Drake's first gripe with the Grammys, but it seemed to be the line for him, because after this, we would see him pretty much boycott the Grammys. Even though Hotline Bling is not a rap song, the only category they can manage to fit me in is a rap category. Maybe because I've rapped in the past, or because I'm black. I can't figure out why. I won 2 awards, but I don't even want them because it just feels weird for some reason. These are similar sentiments that Tyler, the Creator, expressed after his album Igor won Best Rap Album. I do agree that Igor is not a rap album in particular. It may be hip-hop influenced, but it was honestly mostly a pop R&B album. And I also do agree that Hotline Bling is not a technical rap song. It's much more melodic, and you could probably consider it a pop song. But at this point, it feels like Drake is distancing himself more and more from the term of rapper. And he just wants to be called the biggest artist in the world. He even said this: "I want to be like Michael Jackson. I want to be like artists that I looked up to. Those are pop songs, but I never get any credit for that." I feel like once he realized he could never get that throne as the best MC or best rapper alive, because the ghostwriting kind of put a hole in his armor and he was never going to get the respect from hip-hop purists. I do think this is where he really shifted his mindset to, well, I can't win that title, I can't get that crown, but I can be the biggest artist in the world, I can be the hottest artist in the world, I can be the most successful artist in the world, and I can kind of be this all-encompassing big pop star that's larger than life like Michael Jackson. At least that's what I think Drake was thinking at this time. When Drake announced his project More Life, he called it a playlist. This was at the height of the early streaming era, and Drake's Apple Music radio show OVO Radio was gaining a lot of steam. He had weekly releases and exclusive songs and remixes dropping on there, but we first saw him use the term More Life after Alton Sterling's death in an Instagram post that he signed off by saying More Life. The term More Life was actually a Jamaican term popularized by dancehall artist Vybz Kartel, who Drake said is one of his biggest inspirations, and most recently, he did a show with Vybz in Toronto after he was released from prison. When he first announced the project in 2016, he said, "I'm off like mixtapes. I want to do a playlist. I want to give you a collection of songs that become the soundtrack to your life, so this is More Life." The playlist, like I said, dropping in December, which didn't happen, it ended up coming out midway through 2017. All original music from me. You might hear some tunes from the family on there. Just really excited. I had a great tour. I had a great summer, and most people would like go probably take a break, but for me, I just want to get right back to it. Be with the people again. Boy Meets World Tour coming up soon. UK, I'll be there soon. Big up to the UK massive. Sorry, I think Chet Hanks took over for a second and I was inspired to do the bad accent. I still can't believe Chet Hanks went full Jamaican on us. If you haven't seen his role in Atlanta, genius. Childish Gambino is next level. Again, him referencing not going away and staying in the forefront in contrast to how Kendrick moves between albums, I think is a slight shot. The cover art for More Life included a picture of Drake's father, Dennis Graham, from the 70s, and it said a playlist by October Firm on it. Last year, during an acceptance speech at the American Music Awards where Drake cleaned up, he said this.
For our genre, I just like to, keep things exciting and keep making music. Shout out to everybody that's trying to do the same thing. More Life is coming soon, and more tune for your head top. So watch how you speak on my name,
While I can't fully explain the accent, I think it's clear that Drake wasn't done with throwing shots, and he used a clip from that speech at the award show as the first thing you hear on the playlist, More Life. It was called Free Smoke. And on that song, he gives you a look back to where he used to be and shows you where he's at right now. He talks about eating Applebee's and Outback when Weezy had all the authority. He references his fling with J-Lo, old number so it bounced back, and he also throws some shots at multiple people. He basically has the same sentiment about Kendrick never going outside, but he also seems to insinuate that he's ready for battle and knows at this point that it is inevitable. Dudes moves so waste. Please come outside the house and show yourself so I can say it to your face. It's bound to happen, man. It's gotta happen now, so let's just get it out the way. That to me feels like Drake is ready for this to eventually come to a head and for the battle to eventually happen. I brought the game to its knees. I make too much these days to ever say poor me. Where you at? I never see you. Again, saying that Kendrick doesn't come outside and that he only returns for his own personal albums, even though he has done some features over the last few years. And Kendrick did have some big features in 2017, but we'll get back to that. Drake talks to Jay-Z in their continued subliminal war, saying, "A lot of dudes going bad on me, please one at a time. I want to move to Dubai so I don't ever have to kick it with none of you guys. I didn't listen to Hove on that old song when he told me pay it no mind. I get more satisfaction out of going at your head and seeing all of you die, and I seen a lot of you die." This was in reference to Drake's collab with Jay-Z on his first album, Light Up. You can take a look at the last few episodes to see the buildup of Drake and Jay-Z's subliminal warfare if you want to know exactly where this came from. Drake also took a slight shot at Kanye, who had some words for him and DJ Khaled for being overplayed on the radio for their song For Free during his rants on stage right before he checked himself into a facility dealing with a lot of issues at this time during the Life of Pablo tour. But he did seem to throw some shots Drake's way, and so Drake did respond by saying, "Hidden Hills where I post, yeah, yay already know. I'm the troublemaker in the neighborhood far as troublemaking goes. House party up the road, yeah, I'm not kid and play. This kid doesn't play about the flow, yeah." He also responded to Kanye a little bit on his interview with Semtex, basically saying, "I don't know what Kanye's problem with me is, but maybe I'm going to distance myself and not get too close in these friendships because it appears that a lot of them go astray." He takes another shot at Kid Cudi, saying, "Y'all keep playing with your nose. You get high and do the most. How you let the kid fighting ghost writing rumors turn you to a ghost. Oh, you got jokes? Free smoke, which is funny because this is actually one of the very few times that Drake addresses the ghost writing within his lyrics. And of course, he's referencing Kid Cudi, who had just been in rehab for his usage. Later on the album, Drake addresses addresses Meek again on the song Lose You, where he says, all you did was write the book on garbage ass, rollies, ego stroking, picture posting, claiming that you do it for motivational purposes only, but you just had to show me. See, I know because I study you closely. I know when someone lying. I notice people standing for nothing and getting tired. I know what we're both thinking even when you're quiet. Sometimes I gotta just make sure that I didn't lose you. Basically saying Drake is playing this strategically. He's playing the long game. He's keeping tabs on Meek, and again, calling back to how far ahead he was in his career when Meek was just starting out. But Lose You is a very important song in Drake's discography that I think is looked over, and personally one of my favorite Drake verses is verse 2, where it's one of his most honest moments of where he's at in his career, when he says, winning is problematic, people like you more when you're working towards something, not when you have it, way less support from my peers in recent years as I get established, unforgiving times, but F it, I manage. Why is my struggle different than others? Only child that's taking care of his mother as health worsens and bills double. That's not respectable all of a sudden. I don't get a pat on the back for the come up. What do you see when you see me? When did all the things I mean from the bottom of my heart start to lose meaning? Maybe I share it with too many people. Back then, it used to just feel like our secret. Back when I would write and not think about how they receive it, I'd be trying to manifest the things I needed. And look, now, I mean, it's hard to believe it even for me, but you're mindful of it all when you're mindful of it all. How they go from not wanting me at all to wanting to see me lose it all. I just love moments in artists' careers where they look around at how far they've come and really reflect on the journey. I think this is one of those few moments for Drake where he's like, it's hard to believe it even for me, how far he's taken things in the game. And this is only 2017. But Drake was also speaking about the perception of him at the time, and that didn't come out of nowhere. This wanting to see the downfall of Drake or wanting to see him lose it all, because at this time there was talks of, did Drake reach his peak musically? Of course, Views wasn't received the same as his previous projects. There was the whole ghostwriting thing with Meek Mill. People were trying to poke holes in his career, and even More Life wasn't received in the same way as his previous albums. So there was this talk of Drake reaching a ceiling, or did he reach his peak musically? And this isn't just me saying this. There was this conversation had on Everyday Struggle with Joe Budden and DJ Academics, and this is what they had to say about Drake standing in the game at the time.
Well, I didn't get mixed reviews.
Is he setting up the
No,
team?
it's definitely
for the year?
that's not
I'm
true,
seeing
though.
Stan switch up on Drake.
I want to hear academic. I
what?
want to hear Mustard
Stans, like
defend
people,
this.
diehard Drake fans, are switching up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like doubting. He had a reign where nobody questioned
Anybody's
him.
doubting Drake still?
Yeah,
They
nigga.
still doubting him?
I'm saying yes.
Why? Why are you doubting this guy?
Okay, would you like to talk about it?
Please.
And
Turn
I'm
the
not
AC
saying-
up.
I'm not
You
saying-
might start
Listen,
sweating. Turn the
why
AC
are
up.
you doubting this guy, dude? He's not missing. He's not missing.
What are
He's
you-
not
what are
missing,
you
bro.
determining that off
Bro,
of?
he's
How are
not
you
missing.
how are you
He's Drake. He's
concluding
not
that?
missing.
He is great. I'm
I
asking
said he's
you.
Drake. I didn't say
Oh, okay.
he is great.
How are you
but
concluding that he's not missing? To the
when
max,
does he
he's a miss.
miss? Okay, to the max. Everybody has a miss here and there.
So
Is that a miss?
Is it really a miss though? Because
We never
if
addressed that.
He sells.
that
if
shit
it
ain't hit
went
the
platinum-
backboard.
If it, went
didn't hit
platinum,
the
Well,
it's
turnover.
it's
You're expecting
50.
100% after every. Like if a nigga swing 100% every swing, nigga, that doesn't mean
He used to swing 100% though.
not every swing.
For like 3-4 years, he did, man.
He's the new guy.
Mustard.
That's what happens.
When I talk about Drake, I'm never talking about numbers. His
Right.
numbers will always be there. I'm talking about impact.
It is absolutely crazy how things aged. There really was a time period, under a decade ago, where DJ Academics was saying that maybe Drake had reached his height, had reached his peak, maybe he had fallen off a little bit musically. DJ Academic being critical of Drake and some of his singles that he had dropped, saying that he missed. And DJ Mustard, the guy partially responsible for Not Like Us, probably very high up on Drake's current op list, defending Drake, saying that it is impossible for Drake to miss because of who he is and the type of music that he makes, and giving credit to Drake musically. The simulation is real. And on the outro to the album playlist, Drake takes a shot at Tory Lanez saying, last chance I get to make sure that you take it personally. Take this shit to the heart. It's always executed perfectly. If we do a song, it's like taking my kids to work with me. You overnight celebrity, you one day star, swear I told you that I'm in this bitch for eternity. I am a reflection of all of your insecurities. Behind closed doors, a lot of six God worshiping. Done talk now because there's other shit that's concerning me. Daystar Peterson is Tory Lanez's actual real name. And so that Daystar, you one Daystar name flip to me is one of Drake's best subliminal bars. But let me know what you thought. your favorite verse was from this project, what you thought of all these shots, and what you thought of More Life overall in the comments. This project saw Drake experimenting with his sound more than ever, having pop songs, UK-inspired songs, some clear international influence on songs like Get It Together with Black Coffee and Georgia Smith, and of course the hit song Passion Fruit, which was inescapable that whole summer. But I also did live in Toronto that summer for the very first time in my life, so I could have been influenced by my surroundings. But More Life also had some of the more classic Drake that people had grown to love, like Georgia's Interlude, which even samples his own song Doing It Wrong at the end, one of the best breakup songs ever. Listening back to it, it still does hold up as a great Drake project to me, even if the track list is a little bit too bulky, but I guess that's why he called it a playlist. One of my favorite songs is Sacrifices, but there is one horribly aging lyric from that when Drake says this: I got Dubai plates in the California state. I got her waiting at my place. I got no baby on the way. I'm talking baby like Stunna. I'm talking baby like Face. Now, if you do the math, he actually may have had a baby on the way at this exact moment that he was rapping this, because Adonis is 8.5 years old and this project dropped almost 9 years ago. So if you do the math, he may have been conceived shortly before this or around that time. So technically at the time of the project's release, Drake did in fact have a baby on the way. Young Thug also had 2 standout appearances on the project, and his verse on Sacrifices was the first time I really thought, wow, actually Young Thug can rap. He is lyrical in his own Young Thug interesting way. Skepta and Sampha both had their own full interludes on the album as well. And another thing that was clear is that Drake's influence from the UK was heavy on this project. He had recently popped out at Skepta's show.
You know what? Hey, can I just do something real quick? Can I do something real quick? I managed to empty this real quick. Can I just do something?
If you're a mentor, yeah.
He had a remix with Dave. He had gigs on the album twice. He was doing a lot of shows out there, and he was even producing the TV show Top Boy at the time, and it was clear that he had aspirations to produce and go more into the movie and TV/film world. But this came with criticism of him being a wave rider and someone who would latch onto other cultures for his own benefit while stealing or taking and not giving enough back. He addressed this criticism on air saying this.
Yeah, I just made it a point to shine light on as much as I can. That's what I'm here for. You know, I'm in a really, really blessed position, and people like try again because of all the bullshit. People try and like flip everything on me. Like, oh man, you're like you got gigs on a record. You're just using the culture. It's like, nah, man, I'm showing love, bro, to these guys. You can ask Gigs. Like, you know, those are big moments for him and me. You know, I enjoy that. Like, I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered in London, in the UK scene as like, yo, Drake rated us, man.
People started to have this narrative that he did this continuously with other people's sounds and flows and other cultures of music. People talked about the Afro beats on Views, about artists like McConan and some of the features he did where the artists really didn't elevate past that moment. But before the project dropped, Drake was involved in some internet drama involving a bubbling SoundCloud artist out of Florida with a unique flow, a lo-fi yet high energy sound, and emotionally raw lyricism with a memorable haircut and some interesting tattoos. His name was XXXTentacion. He was quickly becoming the leader of a new era of rappers that were blowing up on SoundCloud. His song Look at Me, which almost sounded like an unfiltered demo, began blowing up on the site and had him using a very specific flow that was unique to this song at the time. The song was dropped on SoundCloud December 30th, 2015, and it began gaining a lot of traction towards the end of 2016/beginning of 2017 as interest in X's story began to grow. While it was going viral, the 17-year-old at the time was actually locked up. Drake previewed a song in Amsterdam called KMT with Gigs at the top of 2016, and some fans noticed that the flow sounded similar to X's on his song Look at Me.
Demon just got out of can. I gave my bro an advance. Love is just not in my plans.
I like bitch, you was your mess. Ayy, can't keep my dick in my pants. Ayy, my bitch don't love me no more. Ayy, she kicked me out on life, bro.
And it wasn't just the fans. X himself said this about the similarities in flow in his first ever interview. Shout out to K Fox.
I want you to clarify something for me. What's the situation between you and Drake? Do you guys have beef? Are you guys cool? Like, what's the situation? What's going on?
All right, I'm gonna keep it. I was waiting on this.
Talk to me.
I was waiting for you at the door.
Yes.
The nigga hit up. I'm like, I ain't even on that snitching that shit.
Keep it blood raw. Keep it blood raw.
I got to, cause like I don't want nobody coming at me crazy. You feel me? Like I saw it, bro. You feel me? Like I wasn't in the wrong. Drake hit up a DJ that I fuck with, and bro told me, he was like, yo, the nigga Drake watched your interview. He said he fuck with you and he fuck with your partner Ski Mask. He's like, yo. He's saying he go call your manager within the next few days.
Okay.
So I'm amped up. Nigga, I fuck with Drake.
Yeah.
You feel me? Drake a genius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Despite me disrespecting him as a man, because I can't respect him as a man, I respect that nigga career. That's
Yeah.
a GOAT.
Okay.
That's a GOAT.
So you know how to differentiate the two?
I know. Corporately, that nigga is the GOAT.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I knew what I was doing when I said what I said, and I knew how to approach him. Because I know where he can't beat me at.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So initially, he was supposed to contact one of my managers. So he doesn't do it. That same fucking week, bro. Well, I can't go on to it obviously because I'm locked up. But
Yeah.
I'm on the Securus phone. He dropped the fucking video of previewing that shit in Amsterdam with some nigga from the UK. I was on the phone with my dog, Chris. He was like, yo, you gotta listen to this shit. This nigga Drake a fuck nigga. That's exactly what he said. Like, this nigga Drake a fuck nigga. You gotta listen to this shit. So he plays this shit. I hear da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, what the fuck? As soon as it started, like I knew he was getting that. And the funny thing is, we didn't discover it. The fan, like you said, the fans, because they're so cold. I got a piece of the internet. You feel me?
So they were saying that Drake was biting your style.
Flow, hell yeah, bro. You could take his verse, like they did a mashup. They put his verse on my song, and the cadence is literally just at the same tempo. It's not offbeat at all. And then if you listen to my song and then you listen to the bruh song, like you could. Bro, we all not dumb. Yeah, go.
Okay.
Can't keep my dick in my pants.
So now where do you guys stand? Like, what's good now?
I still think Drake a fuck nigga. As a man, no, I'm keeping a blood raw. I still think Drake a fuck nigga. He's not a man. I think he's a bitch. That's a bitch move. Especially when I was in jail facing life, bro. You get what I'm saying? If Drake would have came to my barn hearing, you know what I'm saying, that would have made my fucking day. If he would have showed that he's a hospitable person and that he's really in this shit for the culture, rather than being a fuck nigga taking my shit, running off with it, and then putting it on his album, then he would have got my kudos. He would have got my respect. I would have let him hop on the remix, take 100% royalty rate. I would have done it because I know I can maintain. You get what I'm saying? And I would have appreciated him for being a real nigga. But Drake not a real nigga.
While saying he outright stole his flow couldn't be confirmed, Drake himself definitely confirmed that he was aware at least of who X was.
Just bring up as a negative about me, like, oh, you're taking from the culture and this, that, and the third, and that bothers me as well because it's like people go so far, they reach so far. Like the other day, I dropped the song with Gigs, and I'm seeing all this on my IG under like some random picture of people being like, you took this kid's flow or whatever, right? So I'm just like, yo, what's happening to me right now, you know? So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to read, like figure out who they're talking about. I find out who they're talking about.
Is this the extension guy?
I don't even think that's how you say his name. But yeah, that's
I tried to practice.
They call him
extension.
X. So anyway, I go and I find what song they're talking about, and I listen to it. I'm like, okay, I see where people could draw like this comparison off of like the first two lines, whether it be the cadence or the rhyme pattern, or whatever, And I'm just like, yo, it's crazy that people think that after all this time, after all I've been through, that I'm the type of person to go pre some song that's on SoundCloud. It doesn't have like 2 plays. It has plays. He has his cult following, and go and think that I'm gonna like take that and make it my own. Like I'm not stupid. I'm not like a person like that.
After More Life dropped, X commented on Drake's mom saying this: "As we know about bringing family into things are bound to escalate. But we'll get back to X next year." To close the loop on More Life, the album broke streaming records on both Apple and Spotify and sold over 500,000 copies first week in only 5.5 days of sales counting. By the end of the year, the album was double platinum. The album, Playlist, received a much better initial reception than Views, but it still was nowhere near the acclaim that his previous projects Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, and even if you're reading this, It's Too Late had received. But speaking of XXX, and no, that transition is not headed there, let's go to Kendrick's album Damn. It's April 14th, 2017. Kendrick Lamar drops his album, Damn. The album was conceptually complex, but sonically his most accessible yet. When speaking on the title, he said that it was initially going to be what happens on Earth stays on Earth, which you hear repeated throughout the album. There were so many different ways you could put it in my head. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. The loudness of the record. When I think about DNA, when I think about Humble, when I think these records, it just felt like that. DNA was actually made with Mike Will Made It, and the beat was actually custom made to Kendrick's a cappella vocals, which is amazing when you think about that song and how choppy and raw and emotional Kendrick was on that verse. So creating around him a sonic landscape is pretty amazing. Listen to Mike Will talk about it.
Number one, I wrote that song, okay? I'm playing with you. Other thing you probably didn't know that me and Kendrick were already cool for 7 years, but we just never had a song. We never landed a song. Probably gave him 1,000 beats before. I gave him beats for Good Kid, Mad City, to Pimp a Butterfly, and then Damn, it's like he ended up calling me and told me like, yo, I've been going in, send me like a little snippet video. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm about to be in LA in like a week. Like, I'm gonna pull up on you. He was like, call me when you get there. So I came to the studio, and then he let me hear Humble, he let me hear DNA, he let me hear XXX. I couldn't even wrap my mind around what I was hearing, because at the time that it was so new and so fresh. So DNA, the second half where the beat switches, he rapped that all the way fully a cappella.
You motherfuckers can't tell me nothing. I'd rather die than to listen to you. My DNA not for imitation.
The original beat cut off, and then he was just rapping, like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, on this part right here, I just want you to go crazy with the 808s. Some shit that'll go crazy in the arenas or whatever. At this point, the beat is already going, and I got his acapella going on top of it, and it's just looping. And I was waiting on my boy Plus to get to the studio. Plus was gonna bring me some tree too, you know what I'm saying, for my head, you know what I'm saying? So I could just levitate. And it was crazy. I had went past the Rick James sample. He was saying, give me some ganja. And I was like, give me some ganja, give me some ganja. And I was just playing. But I was like, hey, bro, this slick hard though, because it's like the bars that you spitting could be the ganja, like, you know what I'm saying? And then I was just like, give me some ganja. And DNA was gonna be the single for Damn at first. And Kendrick was gonna give me Humble for Ransom too. Well, I tried to talk him into keeping Humble for his album, and then he hit Top and was like, yo, I'm gonna give Mike Humble for my album. And then Top heard it, and Top was like, no, like, this is the single. And he was like, for real? Mike saying the same thing. DNA ended up being Billboard #2, while Humble was Billboard #1. So, man, we feel like we did our shit with that one, man. Word.
Many fans had a theory that the album could actually be played in reverse. Depending on how you look at it, the album either starts or ends with a story about Kendrick's father being robbed by his label head Top Dog at a chicken restaurant, basically showcasing the fragility and the weight of every moment and decision that ultimately leads to Kendrick being born and being able to sign to Top Dog and eventually becoming the legend that he is today. Kendrick said that this was a true story, and here's what he said about that moment.
Your dad was working at KFC.
Yep.
Top Dog went in to rob KFC, and he meets your father, and Top Dog's got a gun. Your dad somehow thinks, I don't want to get into any shit with this guy. I'm going to charm him. I'll even offer him some free KFC, and maybe he'll, won't get violent. And Top Dog liked your father.
True story.
And did not rob the KFC because of your dad. And now you're working with Top Dog.
Funny how life is, right?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
that is the craziest story I've ever heard.
Nah, it is the craziest story.
Yeah.
Have you sat with Top Dog and said, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. It's still mine. Every time they come around each other, my pops and Top Dog, it's mind blowing because they have to bring it up. They just sit and just look at each other. It's a trip. Whoever knew that this little kid that was in the back store while you was flipping grease and chicken wings, 20 years later, he'll be sitting in the same studio, and it always goes around to the fact of the point is, okay, what if, he did take my father's life?
Oh,
I'd
my
have been
God.
another, I probably wouldn't be in the studio. I wouldn't be right here with y'all right now. I'd be messed up because it's a psychological thing when you don't have a father at home, especially growing up in the environment we come from.
But especially, reading, how you had a conversion later on and became more spiritual. with the life going like this, you can see how you would become spiritual, because these are the kind of things that usually go the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. I can't take that for granted.
He also said this about playing it for Top. It was just the right time. Top himself didn't know I was going to do it or even execute it in that fashion. To be the last song or to be anywhere, just making it make sense. I remember playing it for him. He flipped because further than the song, when you really can hear your life in words that is so true to you and that affected your life 100% through one decision, it really makes you sit back and cherish the moment. I think that's something we all did playing that record. Like, man, look where we at. We're recording music for the world to hear, and we're taking care of our families. We're blessed. But listen to these words, like, this is what happened. This is real life. It's amazing. And since a kid, I've always said to myself, anything is possible, and it always comes around tenfold confirmation. And eventually Kendrick did confirm the reverse theory, and he even released a version of the album on vinyl that had the track list in reverse order.
My albums get real intricate, and there's always details in there. And for the most part, they usually have a good listening ear to figure out what's going on, you know. So I think like after a week of the album came out, you know, they realized you can listen to the album backwards, and it plays as a full story. And even a better rhythm. You know, it's one of my favorites, rhythms and tempos within the album. So, you know, they're pretty on top of the game, and it's something that we definitely premeditate while we're being in the studio.
How does the story change playing in the different directions?
I don't think the story necessarily changes. I think the feel changes, you know, and the vibe. The initial vibe, listening from the top all the way to the bottom, is just to come in and this aggression and this attitude, you know, DNA exposing who I really am. You know, when you listen from the back end, it's almost the duality and the contrast of the intricate Kendrick Lamar, you know. But both of these pieces are who I am.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad to finally know that you did mean to play it both ways. That's really cool.
Which way do you guys like to listen to the album better? Have you listened to it in reverse? Did it sound better? Did you realize new things? Let me know in the comments. There are so many layers to this album, and while many people call Kendrick fans conspiracy theorists, I've been called it many times in my career, almost everything that people say about his music is actually intentionally put there by Dot. Here's what he said about all the layers on the project.
Prior to me going and recording the record, everything is probably 80% premeditated first, you know, before I actually put the words, you know, over the reference track or go in the studio and lay down vocals. Everything for me is about execution. Because I can go on with 1,000 ideas, but if I'm not executing it right, it doesn't feel home to me. You know, so I like to put a lot of different things and you know, word plays and messages in my music, because I want it to live further than 2 weeks, you know, further than an attention span of, you know, how we all was as kids, you know. We take it, we listen to it, and we move on. But I want it to live for the next 20 years. So you have to listen to it over and over and over again, you know, to fully understand the direction and the message I put in there, the execution of it. I want you to do that. You know, I want to challenge the way you think and challenge the way you take in music.
You're hiding things down the back of couches and things that...
Yeah, that's what excites me.
Yeah.
You know, when I listen to Jay-Z coming up as a kid, when I listen to Eminem, Pac, you know, those things that I couldn't understand. But as years progressed and I went back and listened to it again and I've learned and I've grown and I've matured, these things blew me away. You know, when I found out what they was talking about and how certain things connected to other albums and stories that they told growing up in their communities, their whole perspective of it. So in doing that, I love to have that same type of impact on my listener.
But sometimes, including myself, people do dig too far.
Do you feel like people over-listen to you now, too, though, Kendrick? Like, hey, brother.
Man, I done heard all type of theories.
Theories?
Yeah, oh my
what are some of the
gosh,
craziest
man.
theories you've heard?
Craziest theories that I'm dropping 3 more albums right after damn like every week.
I really thought you were going to drop that.
But I'm going to tell you something. It's a lot of things in that same theory that I don't know how these fans get, but they're on point in some of them. Yeah, they know about certain songs that may or may not be released, and they put things together crazy. So
I'm definitely guilty of that too. A fun fact is that Pride was actually produced by Steve Lacy on his iPhone using GarageBand. If you are creative out there, there's no excuses. You just gotta use the resources you have available at your hand, and you might end up on a Grammy nominated or Pulitzer winning album one day. The album actually sampled Fox News after Kendrick's electric performance of All Right from a couple years prior.
And we hate po-po when they kill us dead on the street for sure. Hit her, I met the preachers, duh.
Did you catch that? Lamar stated his views on police brutality with that line in the song, quote, "And we hate the popo, want to kill us in the street, faux show." KG.
Ah, please. Ugh, I don't like it.
But one of the biggest themes on the album was the Black Hebrew Israelite experience. On Yeah, Kendrick raps, "I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more. That word is only a color, it ain't facts no more." And on the album, his cousin Carl leaves him a voice note saying, "The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true children of Israel. We are the Israelites, according to the Bible, the children of Israel." Kendrick stated in an interview that he was showcasing the perspective of his cousin, who is known as Carney Ben Israel and belongs to a Hebrew Israelite group in New York. When speaking about his relationship with Kendrick, his cousin said, "We study all that day and I gave him my Bible that day in his hand. All praises to the Most High. The word is getting out there." And when asked about the voicemail in Fear and the lyrics on Yeah, Kendrick said this, "Everything that I say on that record is from his perspective. That's always been my thing. Always listen to people's history and their background. It may not be like mine. It may not be like yours. It was taking his perspective on the world and life as a people and putting it to where people can listen to it and make their own perspective from it, whether you agree or you don't agree. That's what I think music is for. It's a mouthpiece." Here's what Kendrick said about the religious aspects of the album.
Remarkable relationship with religion, at least in your work.
Yeah.
The way that it features is it's hard to put it in a circle, you know what I mean? But it's constantly there. In DNA, you make reference to Yeshua's new weapon. And it made me think, like, you know, you often refer to yourself as it's almost like, where would you be in the religious line of hundreds of years ago as opposed to right now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I've always had that. I mean, we are spiritual beings. Period.
Definitely.
And that's something I can't never run from in music. And when I say as a weapon, going back to the line that you referenced, I always felt like God used me as a vessel, period. Whether to show my flaws, whether to show my intellect, to show my pain, to show my hurt, to share my stories, to share his message, all across the board. That's me personally. That's always been a vessel. You know, I could say the nastiest thing on record, period. But I still feel like that's a vessel. You need to hear that because I can't sugarcoat the reality of what's going on out here. I can't sugarcoat the reality of my imperfections, period. So when you hear certain things and certain things you may not like, you may have discomfort from. It's out of my hands. These words, you know, they're not just made up words. You know, when I say I sit and I live with them, you know, and I really zone into them, these are ideas that's coming way beyond me. Man, that's just how I feel about it since day one.
Apparently the song Triple X with U2 originally had 6 verses on the song, which is nuts, but that song was definitely a chaotic listen for me at first, and I wasn't really sure how to feel about it, but I think that's partially how Kendrick wanted it to feel because of the emotions portrayed in it. It showcases a lot of the emotions you hear Kendrick rap about on Untitled, where he's dealing with tragic losses and unfiltered feelings of frustration and even anger towards the people who clearly have harmed him and his family and not really knowing what to do with it. Some of it may be misplaced, some of it may be understandable, and some of it I think is just pure raw emotion that Kendrick's filtering through not only his lyrics but through the instrumentation on that song. There was also a lot of very easy listening songs on that album with hits like Loyalty with Rihanna, which also could be ironic depending on how you look at that song title and who she was linked to for a very long time and the subliminal war that we know is going on. There was also Love with Sakari, which is one of my favorite hip-hop love songs of all time. It's just a feel-good. Takes me back to a place. I remember hearing it for the first time. But let me know what your favorite song from Damn is. To me, this album was like a mixture between the commercial appeal that Good Kid had and the intellectual intention of To Pimp a Butterfly to be a thought-provoking project. It was his most commercially appealing album, but it didn't sacrifice anything in terms of depth, layers, or lyrical risks. It's my personal favorite Kendrick album to this day, and I still find things when I listen back to it. But all of that was actually Kendrick's intention.
Why is Damn top spot for you?
Because I think Damn is a hybrid of all these projects. It was me finally being able to take elements from Good Kid, the message behind the Pimp a Butterfly, the sonics, and the beats slapping on Good Kid, and the rawness of just being able to do what I want like I did on Section 80. I didn't have no rules doing this. You know, I was just in there creating, having fun. So when I take all 3 of these, it makes a hybrid of Damn for me.
The album received a score of 95 on Metacritic and sold 603,000 copies first week, making it the biggest selling first week of his career and topping both Drake and Big Sean for the #1 spot that week, ironically or not. Kendrick Lamar made history in 2018 as the first non-classical and non-jazz artist to win the Pulitzer Prize for music for this album. The award recognized, quote, the album's vernacular authenticity and rhythmic dynamism in capturing the complexity of modern African American life. Playboi Carti actually dropped his album the exact same day as Kendrick Lamar in 2017, and it's insane to see how much has changed in that time period. Carti sold 28,000 albums first week compared to Kendrick's 603,000. But if you fast forward to 2025, when Kendrick and Carti both dropped new albums, and Kendrick sold 320,000 while Carti sold 300,000. So give it 8 years and you never know who you'll see at the top. And Kendrick had 2 appearances on that Carti album, bringing things full circle. After Damn, Kendrick hopped on Future's hit song Mask Off for what felt like another post-album victory lap for Dot. On there, he compares himself to Prince, and Kendrick's features were very diverse this year and all impactful in different ways. From his verse on Doves in the Wind with SZA to his new Freezer verse with Rich the Kid, which felt super different, but I actually loved it. Mike Will's Perfect Pint, Rhapsody's Power, and Thundercat's Walk On By. There were a lot of great Kendrick features this year. Drake also had a great feature run with No Complaints with Metro, Family Feud with Wayne, No Frauds with Nicki, which is its own thing, To the Max with Khaled, which is what Academics was referring to as a miss earlier in this video, Come Closer with Wizkid, and Bring It Back with Mike Will and Trouble, rest in peace of Trouble. Cole only appeared on one song this year, which is ironic recording this in 2026 because the two have been throwing slight shots back and forth at each other since then, but he was on Legendary by Joey Badass. Cole called Joey before writing False Prophets, which used the same instrumental that Joey had used for one of his early standout songs, Waves. But in an interview, Joey said that Cole was done doing features at this point. Cole already told me he was getting me my verse, and literally he told me like, yo, Joe, you are the only person I got on my feature list. I ain't doing no more features. Only your feature is the one that's important to me. Literally the day before For Your Eyes Only came out, he sent the verse for Legendary back. He also sent Logic a voicemail that landed on the end of his album Africarian, where Cole was basically telling Logic not to get too caught up in race and to just be himself. Similar to what he would later do for Summer Walker, where it's this very personal voice note to the person he's speaking to. But this one was actually a raw voice note that wasn't clearly recorded in the studio. He just probably sent it to Logic on the phone and probably was inspired to tell him this. And it's funny to hear Cole, who was about to go on a crazy feature run a couple years later, right now is in the moment of his life and career where he feels like he wants to lock in with himself and his family and be very isolated from the industry. On this Logic song, he said, and so your trauma is deep, don't bury it, you should weep, and clean it out of your system, then truly forgive him. Just my opinion, only then you can find peace. Just start to notice happiness don't come from an album release. I've been through it before. Can only share with you what I know to be true, but at the same time, I'll never be you, and you'll never be me no matter how hard that you try. This is for youngins out there wondering how far you can fly. The truth is that you could go farther than the stars in the sky, but if you want to, then you ought to know why. So it's clear that Cole was struggling with finding his happiness from additional accolades or things that are external to himself versus what comes from within. And that last line is like, what is your why? What is your purpose? Why are you doing this? And it feels like Cole wants to make an impact with his word, and that's why he keeps making the type of music at this point that he does, that's very conceptual, that's very much from other people's perspectives and less telling the story of J. Cole. But who had the best feature verse this year in 2017? Let me know. And while Cole wasn't outside much this year, it felt like he was in a giving back mood because he also did share some advice with Cardi B at the time that was similar to what he's telling Logic. At this time, Cardi was dealing with the massive success of Bodak Yellow and the pressure of putting out her debut album. Here's what Cole told Cardi.
Man, before the music shit, I didn't know, like my wife and my sister, they be playing like, they'll be like on Instagram, and I'll be like, who the fuck? Usually like, who the fuck is that? But this particular time, I'm like, yo, who is that? Like, nobody gonna hit #1. Don't try to do it twice. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. Like, Jay-Z first #1 record was what, 3 years ago or something? It was the New York record. Jay-Z been popping since '96. The nigga just got his first #1, so it's like, can't force, man. Hell yeah. I already know when I seen the interview, I'm like, yo, she in her own head. Like, you might like some shit, but then you start overthinking. You know what I mean?
She agreed, saying she was overflying the brain, which she probably meant over frying, but Gotta love Cardi for it. She posted a picture with Cole and she said, I met J. Cole last night. So dope and humble. I shall follow advice. Of course, it would turn out great because Cardi's debut album would crush records, sell amazing amounts, and it even won a Grammy for Best Rap Album of the Year, becoming the first female to do so since Lauryn Hill, who won as part of the Fugees for the score. But that's it for 2017. Next year gets even more interesting for Drake, who is involved in another battle, this time with Pusha T and Kanye. We have J. Cole dropping KOD and a lot more. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you made it this far, leave me a comment, a like, share it. Anything that you can do to support really helps. This series is a passion project for me, so I love making these videos, but I really do love the response that I get. And when you guys tell me that you're waiting around for the next video or you can't wait for 2018 or how much you appreciate the work and the research and the effort that goes into this video, it doesn't go unnoticed. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being a part of this community. If nobody else has told you yet today, I appreciate you and I'll see you in the next video. Dream good, live better. Peace.